Hello? So, I'm going to continue with signs, mostly from the New York special. The movie was like 2 years ago, Yami! 2 years ago! But I mean, should you even be surprised by my horrible rate at this point? Why don't we start?
Here, let me help you.
Like with Marinette and her suitcase earlier in the scene, or with Kagami and her shoe problem in Animaestro, Adrien just seems super polite, so of course he'll offer to help her again here. Earlier, Chloe was there too, and he didn't say hello or help her.
Yes, turns out you're in luck. I'm coming. But only because I decided to.
But it could just be his dislike for her, especially when she's giving a little self-important speech. Also, she has Sabrina as her slave, but simply adjusting the AC overhead console, when Marinette already stood up to do it and seemed to be doing okay, does he really need to help her with something that easy? There's a sense of extra consideration and care. He didn't even ask if she needed help, and then wait for her to put her hands down, but there's that random touching that I mentioned in other Sign series parts again. The hand touch in Gamer was so awkward for them. Why would you get yourself in that hand-touchy situation, Adrien? What's your plan? To place your hands on hers, then ineffectively turn those knobs that require some concentrated strength with her hands? So before in Signs 5-1, I talked about Adrien's speed in getting off of Marinette compared to Chloe after he fell on them. This time, he's staying there even longer than the time in Gamer. Sure, maybe he needs some time to process the situation since the fall was sudden, but he still stays there while he apologizes. It's reminding me of these scenes with Ladybug. I guess you can say he fell for her.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
The first time I watched, it looked to me like Adrien was looking downward at Marinette, not the view, and thus saying, maybe unconsciously, that she's beautiful. He doesn't seem to change his eye position much after she turns around, when he would naturally look at her face when talking to her. I asked my non-miraculous friend, and he also thought Adrien was more focused on Marinette. But maybe Adrien was looking at the window and they just animated the eyes weird. Then it could be unclear overall. But my friend pointed out that if he cared more about the view, he could have stood closer to her. True, the way they're standing, she's kind of blocking it. Also, later he moves next to her and mentions the view again.
The only reason I can enjoy this beautiful sunset is you.
So the first time was rather unnecessary, unless he wasn't talking about the view. He brought it up again when he actually focused on the view because at first he was distracted by something else. It would make sense if he thought she was beautiful, as he thanks her for apparently convincing his father. Next, this could be extra, but when the plane moves them closer, he moves his hands like he was going to embrace her, or wanting to hold her closer. He isn't moving them to give her space as she moves out of the way, since he does the motion before she does that. I mentioned before in Signs Part 5-1 that in 𝗺𝗲, Adrien races across the rink to help Marinette, and here he is rushing to catch her as she falls, showing more care and protectiveness. 𝗀់_𝗿𝗀𝗀 points out another possible connection to 𝗺𝗲. You missed a sign! In 𝗺𝗲, when Marinette talks to Adrien, she said that he never needs to let her fall. Then Marinette falls, and 𝗀്că catches Marinette. But in the movie, when Marinette falls, and they are stuck with the doors, and Adrien catches her the same way! If you don't remember, Marinette was supposed to be giving this tip for romance.
You cannot let her fall in any way. I mean, do whatever you can so she doesn't fall.
It's cool that 𝗀്că and Adrien caught her similarly, with this scene possibly referencing the other. The way Adrien caught Marinette also works considering her advice, since he zoomed and didn't let her fall. Look at his little smile! But what good friend wouldn't keep their friend from falling if they're nearby and can help, right? So why did the animators have to put Adrien all the way over there and have him zip there? It's like the point isn't just to show how friends help each other in troubles and have some cute adrinette moment for fan service, though one-sided. It might instead be pointing out something about their relationship. Oh, I also want to point out something else for fun. In a symbolic way, it could show that hesitation Adrien has about his smaller feelings for Marinette because of Ladybug. That's why he wasn't prepared to grab her arm or catch her when she fell this time, following her advice. He is hesitating to catch her when she falls, like he hesitates with his feelings for her. Or, his random. But in the next falling scene, he caught her again.
Here's what we're gonna do.
And then he made sure she didn't take the fall here. He went to the length of taking the painful fall for her, even though she was standing in front of him. Adrien is flipping between not being prepared to catch her to catching her. So if it's symbolic, it would be like he's hesitating with his feelings, but then at the same time, he also feels that she's incredibly special to him. Next, Eon says that Adrien and Marinette are made for each other and says that she's programmed to help people. In this case, it would be to help them get together. Well, since she's also an android, it could be that she sees that they ultimately like each other instead of the roundabout Cat Noir likes Ladybug and Marinette likes Adrien. Or, that they like each other behind their identities. So I wouldn't jump and say that she sees how the Adrien side likes the Marinette side here specifically. But then Jess, non-robot from what we know, was also observing the two after the door scene, and she just says,
We need to make them believe they'll never see each other again, and that it's the last chance they'll ever get to tell each other how they truly feel.
From a few moments of observing Adrien and Marinette together, she sees that they truly feel something for each other, and seem to be hiding it in denial, which is why she and Eon hatched that whole plan to fake a villain. As a final point about the hotel door scene, 𝘀ecie𝘂𝗿𝗀𝗀 pointed out something amazing! I looked up on Adrien's Instagram and I saw a post when he said, as their eyes intertwined, showing what our hearts were hiding. Bruh. I feel like he's talking about his hidden feelings for Marinette. I clicked on it and saw this. So I plugged it into Google Translate to check, and I got, our gazes intertwined, reaching to show what our hearts hid. But after checking back now at the post, I find that the post is gone! Why? It was there though. Well, anyway, the picture was taken from that same door scene when Eon ships them.
I don't mind being stuck somewhere with a friend like you.
Yeah, he's talking about Marinette, and not someone she just reminds him of, like Ladybug. The image caption could also connect to what Jess said about revealing hidden feelings shown earlier. Next, Adrien, just a friend aggressed, now calls Marinette something new, and in that scene I showed some time ago.
I wouldn't have minded being stuck here a little longer with a friend like you.
I saw this comment on some video I don't know anymore. It says, in my opinion, a friend like you is a million times better than him saying that she's just a friend, because it implies that she's different from his other friends. He wouldn't have to say like you if there wasn't something that made their friendship different from his other ones. He's starting to realize that Marinette means more to him than anyone else. Also, this Yamigo mentioned it too. Neat! Unfortunately, I couldn't find the comment again when I searched for it. Aww. Season 1.
She's just a friend.
Upgrade. Season 2.
She's a very good friend.
Upgrade. NY Special.
I don't mind being stuck somewhere with a friend like you.
Also, throughout the movie, Marinette is using the just a friend phrase. She's obviously using it in denial, so we can connect it to Adrien and think about what it means when he uses that phrase. That is, also denial. I don't think the phrase always suggests that he actually sees her as only a friend, as I mentioned before about 𝘀𝗿𝗄. A friend like you might show him moving from denial to some acceptance. It was even emphasized twice. And notice how he starts using the new phrase when Mary used just a friend. Speaking of friend, Bella Curtis mentions, what about from NYC Special when he leaves? He never even said bye to Nino but only Marinette. Let's see it.
Dude, no, stay! I have to go. I'm sorry, Marinette.
Yeah, at least in this scene, Mary is treated like a better friend than Adrien's best friend. Interesting point brought up by animaestro. Quote, when he said he would be comfortable stuck with Marinette in New York, he was not expressing regret.
I wouldn't have minded being stuck here a little longer with a friend like you.
But he said he shouldn't have come soon after, thinking about disappointing his lady.
My father's right. I should have never come to New York.
He's confused about his feelings, between regretting having disappointed Ladybug and spending more time with his friend. And Adrien appears to be comparing Mary to his lady again. See my past vids in the series to see the relevance of these comparisons and other examples. But yes, he could just be thinking of the good and bad moments in New York overall. Though, through mentioning Mary, who is connected to him being in New York, it can be contrasted with him not being in New York, and this is connected to Ladybug. Also, here's a cute post. Even though he is heartbroken, just been separated from Plague, thinks the love of his life hates him, feels like a failure, and has been told he has to go home early, Adrien still smiles for the sake of Marinette. He isn't alone. Mary also appears to be comparing Kat to Adrien. There were some fancy parallels. Let's have a look.
He made his choice. What did you expect me to do?
The only other time Mary mentioned choice in this movie was with Kat. That time was also in the perhaps metaphorical rain.
I should have stopped him from leaving.
He made his choice. What were we supposed to do?
Look how similar the sentence structures look. Same words in the first sentence, then a question with similar words. It's reminding me of the repetition technique in poetry, which functions to emphasize points. This part that seems to compare the two is followed by Alia's little lecture.
Who's Adrien to you? A friend or more than a friend? There will never be a better time to be clear with yourself, Marinette. Do you want him to leave or do you want him to stay?
Later, Mary makes a direct name connection.
I already lost Cat Noir. I can't lose Adrien too.
Which is followed by,
You have to stay! I love you.
So this whole chunk from when Mary mentioned made his choice until the scene ends seems like it can apply to both Adrien and Cat Noir, as there were two comparisons made between them throughout. Alia gets Mary to think about things that could have applied to both Adrien and Cat Noir, and Mary also says things that could fit both of them. The viewer can conclude that she might also be thinking or talking about Cat Noir when she talks about Adrien. So, the ideas suggested by this chunk of scenes is 1. Cat Noir is more than a friend. 2. Mary was having that phase when she was in denial about her feelings for Adrien, aka not clear with herself. She's in denial about Cat as well. 3. She wants Cat Noir to stay too. 4. She loves Cat Noir? Ooh woo. Though yeah, I wouldn't say it's the same level as Adrien yet, because she wasn't saying it about Cat explicitly, unlike when she mentioned losing him. She wasn't admitting love for him like for Adrien. Love could vary in extent, and there are types of love. Still, it's great to see Cat in her eyes through comparisons. Speaking of Marinette and Cat's love for each other, many people mentioned a cool theory out there in the fandom. I wonder where it's from. Let's read one of them. Yummy! There's this theory going around in Miraculous. Okay, let's go back to Origins 2, the umbrella scene / rain scene when Adrien gave his umbrella to Marinette. There was a huge thunder. There is also rain thunder, French language, that meant the sight of first love. Now remember that thunder was very loud. It was not afraid to show. It was strong, just like her feelings. So does that mean thunder meant sight of first love? Okay, now in the New York special, in the sad rain scene, when the angle moved from Marinette to Adrien, there was a small thunder. Could that mean Adrien fell in love with Marinette at that time? Piece of old Miraculous trivia for you. Pulling up the Miraculous wiki, the sound of thunder that happens when Adrien gives the umbrella to Marinette alludes to the French expression coup de foudre. I hope I didn't butcher that, which translates to clap of thunder, meaning the moment when one person instantly falls in love with another person. Cue the umbrella scene. In the movie, we hear the thunder sound at these points.
Adrien!
It's true that the thunder in the first scene sounds quieter than in Origins. Lunar Sky 33 said Thomas confirmed it? I'm not sure where Thomas said this, so I'm not going to present it definitively. But of course, if it means love at first sight, it wouldn't be about Marinette not being in denial about her feelings anymore, and admitting her love for Adrien when she sees him. Love at first sight already happened for her in the Origins episode. It would make sense if it's about Adrien realizing his feelings for Marinette, and even Ladybug realizing hers for Cat Noir. The interesting thing is that we hear thunder twice, right? We hear the first thunder when the camera focuses on Adrien's face, as if he's the one feeling that love after he sees Marinette. The second thunder also happened right before Mary compared Cat and Adrien directly by name in that second scene, like it happened at some realization moment she had about Cat. There's another possible parallel I noticed between Adrien and Cat. In the special, Marinette says,
I can't imagine being Ladybug without him.
She says something similar at the beginning of 𝗺cie about Adrien.
You know, I can't even begin to imagine him not being here.
The words begin and imagine are also repeated exactly, and without him and him not being there are just synonyms. Are Adrien and Cat getting on the same level? Now moving on to the beautiful moonlit dance.
Oh, that's the song we danced to at Chloe's birthday party, remember?
We don't know how many times Adrien has heard that song, but from the show it seems to be that one time. And yet, he remembered it from that friendly dance like it was meaningful enough. That I mentioned in my previous science part that Adrien's often the one initiating moves compared to with Kagami. And here he goes again!
Then, will you?
Then he was completely comfortable with an instant close position like in Despair Bear. Compare them to some couples dancing on the roof and there's no difference. And then we also have Sabrina, who started to like some guy in this movie. New, one-sided, and look how they're standing with some distance. Mary seems to be getting closer and closer for Adrien. Like, not only physically, but relationship-wise. Continuing on this dance scene, Molly Santaford and 𝗀•ğ's Art and Music Gallery bring up a cool observation. I'll read one. Fun fact! When Uncanny comes to Adrien so he can be Cat Noir again, he was staring at the moon, quite possibly thinking of when him and Marinette danced in the moonlight. Yes, ooh, could be. Why decide to put a bright moon there after all? By the way, unrelated fun fact, we see Cash at the end of the New York special, in case you didn't rewatch. Let's follow him to the Shanghai special. Quick scene. Remember how I mentioned before in other science parts that Ladybug reacts differently to Cat Noir disappearing compared to other classmates or friends? This time she seems hurt to a greater degree as she cries. Cat seems to be becoming even more special to her as someone she doesn't want to lose. Okay, that's the end of the video. I hope you liked it because it was super late.